we got to talk about the noise.
Yeah, when I finally am laid to rest, on my headstone is going to say, "Here lies David Draiman."
Do you ever read the comments on social media?
Every once in a while, there's one that just kind of serves me a layup that I can't refuse the opportunity to dunk on.
Would you sooner cancel a show than use band's backing tracks?
Absolutely. I will never, ever, at any stage of my career, use anything other than completely live drums, bass, guitar, and vocals, period.
Hey, it's me, Jesse Lee, making some coffee here. Fueling up, you know? I need a lot of caffeine before I start making videos about the latest Slipknot drama and whatever shenanigans Metallica gets into this week. But I did want to take a minute to tell you about this week's episode, with none other than David Draiman, frontman of the band Disturbed. Oh, I thought I was almost at K-Cups, but I'm not. I'm good. Anyway, we talked all about the infamous ooh ah ah, where'd it come from? We talked about David Draiman's feelings about backing tracks. We talked about band's newest #1 single with Ann Wilson from Heart called Don't Tell Me, and a ton of other fun stuff. But before we dive in, before we get into all the fun, I'm gonna hit that button. You can hear me brewing some coffee in the background. I want to remind you to please, if you are not already, for whatever reason, following the podcast, subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening, consuming this right now. Please hit that follow button. And if you're on Spotify, if you happen to be listening and watching on Spotify, why don't you go ahead and leave a little 5-star review, you know? A little high five for Jesse Lee, if you want, if you think it's a 5-star episode. If not, then I'm sorry, I'll do better next weekend, or next Wednesday rather, all right? Let's dive into it. Well, David, thanks so much for taking the time to chat with me. I know you have pretty limited free time, and you just finished up that massive Take Back Your Life tour with Falling in Reverse and Plush, and then you're headed out to New Zealand in a few days?
New Zealand and Australia today. I leave this evening.
Oh, wow. So you're really up against the time limit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I appreciate that. Were there any kind of major highlights from this last tour?
Oh, man, there were a ton of them. So many great moments, so many great nights. I love each and every night because there are different interactions, different stories, different fan moments. There's not any one in particular that jumps out. The whole run was just truly a very, very, how can I put it? A experience that was necessary and needed, not just for me and the band, but I think for everybody who attended. It was very, very therapeutic.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it has to be. Like you were saying in past interviews, you've been really focusing on, this new wave of self-improvement that you're taking on for your life as far as physically and mentally. So I'm sure, getting to get these feelings out every night on stage had to be a big help for you.
It helps me just as much as it helps everyone else. So, the catharsis is very, very necessary, for sure.
Also, this tour became pretty much the only point of contact for Ronnie Radke for the last few weeks since all his social media got deleted.
I heard about that,
yeah. Speaking about the path to self-improvement, though, how have you been able to stay healthy on the road as far as being physically active? I know we've talked about time is limited. It must be tough to get workouts in.
I haven't done the best job of it, to be honest. This past run has been rough. I started out with a sinus infection. That sinus infection led to laryngitis.
Oh, wow.
And then I had an abscess and one of my implants that I had to get fixed in the middle of the tour. I had to have oral surgery the day of one of the shows. And then, after everything else, I ended up getting a cold on top of it. So no matter what I did or what I tried this run, I couldn't stay 100% healthy.
Yeah.
So I think at max, I was maybe at 80% at best on my best nights this run. So did the best I could. And it's very difficult on the road. I fly. I don't take the bus because the bus tears me apart vocally. I have really severe acid reflux disease, so the bus shakes me up like a Coke bottle, and I wake up the next morning with half my voice gone. So But flying is a whole nother series of problems too, because, airports and planes are basically just big old petri dishes. And, then there's the lack of sleep and, the constant travel. It takes its toll. So, the life of the gypsy is not for everyone, especially one of us who actually still sings live. There aren't too many of us left. So
you're a dying breed of non-backtracked bands, huh?
Oh yeah.
Did you have to find like a 24-hour dentist to take care of that or something?
I had to go to an oral surgeon. Yeah, they were going to put me under, and I told them, I got to play the show tonight. You put me under, I'm not going to be okay. So they basically gave me a bunch of laughing gas and numbed the hell out of the area. I'm like, go for it. They did what's called an LND, which is a drain of the area. They had to do an incision into the gum and let all the fluid drain out. And I got to the show that night, and the side of my face is still all swollen and tight.
Oh, wow.
Still saying, I can perform if I've got a voice. Everything else in the body can be broken, but I can still perform if I've got a voice.
Right. You can sit down and wail. Be all right.
Yeah. Both Axl Rose and Dave Grohl showed us that.
Right.
So,
I know. You can always borrow Dave Grohl's throne if you're ever getting pinched,
there
right?
You go.
So, on the topic of backing tracks, then, would you sooner cancel a show than use backing tracks?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I will never, ever, at any stage of my career, use anything other than completely live drums, bass, guitar, and vocals, period. Look, lots of bands have thickening tracks, whether you're us or Tool or any number of other bands that don't want to simply pay a keyboard player to get up on stage to press one key and start a sequence that's already pre-sequenced anyway of a whole bunch of effects or electronics. But guitar, drums, bass, and vocals are always live. If I ever get to the point where I can't perform the way I need to vocally, I will just quit. I'd rather do it for real than not do it for real. It's not, I don't even know how I'd go about it. So it's simply just not an option for me.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of fans like shit on any backing tracks whatsoever, but like you said, you can't be expected to tote around a 40-piece orchestra with you just for like one song for it to sound the way you want it to sound, the way it was recorded. So
well, and then it's a difference of like, it's kind of the difference between an athlete that performs without enhancements, without the steroids or whatever else is going along, and then the athlete that does. I mean, so but for me, I'm a purist. I've never used pitch correction in the studio. There's this myth that exists out there of there being, pitch correction on the fly, what everybody likes to refer to as auto-tune. The technology of doing it live as you're singing, it doesn't exist.
Right.
That's not accurate. What people have experienced and what they're dealing with is there's a lot of guys that have a track that they'll sing on top of. And your front of house guy or your monitor engineer will pull one fader up and pull the other down. And the actual pre-recorded track comes up. When it's time for the singer to speak, up comes the the actual live vocal mic. But or when all of a sudden you start hearing a whole bunch of chorusy melody things in a chorus when nobody else is on the microphone other than just the lead singer, that kind of leads things into question. But again, I think that everybody's simply trying to do and provide the best show that they possibly can. For me, myself, I've told my guys, I've told everybody in our circle, I'm like, if I ever get to the point where I can't do it up there the way that I need to be doing it up there, I'm going to be the first one to pull the rug out from under myself. And if I don't, please do it for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to do anything to tarnish our legacy in any way.
Yeah, and the worst part would be to use the tracks and then deny it and be like, no, we're not using, because like we all have seen like, Nikki Sixx, his hand's not even on the bass, but the bass is going on. It's like, hey, wait a minute. But then they still deny it. It's like, well, you're using tracks to thicken it up. Just own up to it. It's fine. Like,
Look, I'm not going to throw anybody under the rug or under the bus, so to speak. Yeah, I love Nikki. I love the Motley Crue guys. I think they've been doing an amazing job their entire career. I'm not in a position to judge how they do what they do.
Right.
All I know is that they're still making fans happy and they're still throwing down. And I actually look forward to sharing the stage with them on a number of the festivals we're going to be on over the course of the rest of this year. But look, me personally, never in a million years. What anybody else does, that's entirely up to them and their choice, and I'm no one to judge. The only person I can judge is myself.
Yeah, it's like, I don't like olives on pizza, but I'm gonna give you shit for eating olives on your pizza. Like, it's whatever, man.
There you go.
So the song "Don't Tell Me" with Ann Wilson from Heart just became your 19th #1 song on active radio, which is wild, man. Congrats on that. That's a huge accomplishment. And of course, you can't lug Ann Wilson around with you on these, big arena tours every night, unfortunately. So I saw you had Mariah from Plush filling in on vocals for that song.
Oh man, she was absolutely stellar. I mean, that woman has got one hell of a voice, and she is, for all intents and purposes, bulletproof. I gained so much more respect than I even already had for her and for Plush in general. Watching them over the course of this run, those ladies are a force to be reckoned with. They are truly, truly devastating live.
Yeah, they're great, and I think this tour was obviously the first introduction for a lot of fans for that band, because they got put on, obviously in front of two other giant bands, and they got to. It's really great to see you putting on these newer acts, and so you could have went out there with two more legacy acts or something, but you chose to put somebody up and coming on, which is just a great testament to you as bringing up new talent, but also just great for a music fan to discover something new at a live show.
We love that. We love, looking for the new up and coming bands to try and showcase them on our shows, on our tours. We love supporting young talent. And in particular, I love this whole new wave of young female fronted bands that have, exploded over the course of the past 5 to 10 years. I couldn't be happier about it. So the more the merrier.
Other than Mariah, is there any other it doesn't have to even be a female vocalist, but any upcoming vocalist that you would love to collab with on a track, or maybe just even for a live one-off at one point?
I think there's so many incredibly talented artists out there that are, how could I put it, not as old as we are.
Not as seasoned, not as well seasoned.
not falling into the heritage category, which even saying that is painful. But I think I love the girls from The Warning. I think they're amazing. I think that I still am a huge fan of the Nothing More guys. I love can't remember the name of the band now. They have that incredible track, Death of Peace of Mind, no?
Bad Omens, yeah.
Bad Omens, yeah. I think they're absolutely fantastic. I love both sleep bands, Theory and Token, they're both great. I'm down. I'm always down to collaborate with anybody, but in particular, what I'd love to be able to do is to collaborate with some artists outside of the genre. Been trying to get that going for quite some time, whether it's somebody in the world of hip hop and R&B and rap, or whether it's a pop artist or a country artist. I'd love to be able to do more of that. I'd love to, I think that, take a situation like, Aerosmith and Run DMC's Walk This Way when they did it together. It opened up huge avenues for both of those bands at the time. That whole, cross section of fan bases and that integration was huge. I think that there's not enough of that happening these days, and there should be more of it. Great music is great music, and I think cross-pollination is a good thing for everybody. So I'm hoping to be able to make more things like that happen in the future.
I think that's a great idea, because I think your voice definitely lends itself to the cross-pollination, if you will, because it's got that deep baritone, but it's very distinguishable and everything. So and I feel like it would fit really well with some R&B or some hip hop as well. I think it would be a great contrast to what's going on there. I know you've been very vocal about Taylor Swift being one of your all-time favorites at the moment. Would you consider her a dream collab?
Oh, in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Her, Pink, I still think Carrie Underwood would be great, for us to either perform together live or for us to work on something together. I love, some of the younger country artists out there, like, Hardy and Jelly Roll too. I love those guys. I'd love to be able to collaborate with, someone from the country world. I'm open to anything, honestly, as long as it's good. And as long as it's compelling and powerful, I'm all about, making it something that we can take to a whole nother level together.
Yeah, and I feel like the genre lines don't exist as much as they used to, like especially like in the 90s and 2000s. Like people kind of do listen to everything now, and they're a lot more open to, I don't know if that's whether we accredit that to TikTok and social media or whatever, but it does seem like people are much more open to, I'm a metalhead, but yeah, I still love, country, or I still will get down to like the new, I don't know, Beyonce song, whatever it is, like, because it's not as many lines anymore.
Look, great music is great music. I mean, we all had our moments in our youth of being a little bit snobbier than we should be.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
I've definitely, gotten a huge appreciation for all sorts of types of music at this point in my life. Definitely a very eclectic taste, and I'd love to be able to branch out a little bit more. I'd love for the cross pollination to happen. So who knows?
Well, I mean, if we don't get Taylor Swift, we might at least be able to get Travis Kelce out there on stage with it, because we all saw that clip of him going viral, singing "Down to Sickness." You put it out there, man. I posted about it on my TikTok too as a story. I'm like, let's make this happen, guys. I think this needs to go down.
I'd love for it to happen. They're both welcome. Look, the more the merrier, as far as I'm concerned. I love that the music is affecting and reaching and inspiring so many different people from so many different walks of life, and everybody's welcome to the party. I think that's what music is meant to do, is to be able to cross lines and cross boundaries. So it's a beautiful thing when that happens.
Yeah, again, in the aspect of like gatekeeping and genre lines, like somebody like or Travis, who's married to one of the biggest pop superstars in the world, all her fans now, coincidentally, by contact, have now heard "Down with the Sickness" that may have not heard before. They're like, oh shit, like this rocks. Like, what is this? I like this.
Oh, brother, if only that were true to the extent that you're implying. I wish it would be as widespread as that. Look, all we can do is be honest, and speak from our hearts and show our appreciation to people who show appreciation of us. I'm very, very humbled. We as a band are very humbled when anyone takes something we've done and uses it for motivation and for strengthening and empowerment. And he's welcome, she's welcome, anybody's welcome. I think the more we can make things like that happen, and the greater appreciation we can have of one another, the more close-knit of a community we become collectively. There's no downside to any of it.
Oh, not at all. Yeah. I mean, there'll be a few pissed off gatekeepers, like some purists that hate on it. But other than that, there's no, you're not getting any negativity, I don't think.
Well, those purist gatekeepers kind of hate on everything.
They're going to find something shit on anyway.
Oh, yeah. That's their expertise.
Speaking of Down with the Sickness, dude, the album, The Sickness, just had its 24th anniversary, right? This just a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Does it feel like it's been 24 years?
It's still surreal, to be honest. I still feel like we're still that band, stepping onto that side stage at Ozfest for the very first time. It's still weird to be the band that is now, that, like I said, the Heritage Act, the band that's been around for 24, 25 years, that that the new generation is now looking to and watching. And it's still very strange to me.
I bet.
Because I'm still a fan of everyone, and I'm still that guy that watches on the side of the stage, in front of the stage, my colleagues and the other guys in the genre and the other women in the genre who are just so powerful and amazing. So it's nice to be able to have gone this long and this strong with it, and to still be on a upward ascent, which is very unique, I think, in the industry. I mean, we just finished the most successful touring run of our careers, and thank God, with the recent #1 with Don't Tell Me. And then now we have this remix of The Sound of Silence done by this incredible remixer by the name of Cyril that is now like #3 on world iTunes and #1 in Europe. And it just continues to blow my mind how far, these adaptations of our music seem to get. And I never get tired of seeing the reincarnations and the growth that continues to happen. It's crazy to be a part of.
Do you remember the moment, if there was a moment, where it went from playing House of Blues style clubs to we're in arenas now? Like we can't go back?
Oh, that was a while ago.
Yeah. Yeah, because you guys started off pretty strong.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, we did I remember in 2016, we did an underplay run that was exclusively like House of Blues style venues on purpose. That, we wanted to make sure it was, the people who couldn't get in, look at what you're missing, make sure you be there the next time, that kind of thing. But then too many people end up getting disappointed because you fill the room with, 1,200-1,400 people, but there were 12,000-14,000 that were willing to come.
Yeah.
And so I think that the days of things like that happening, other than just for a very special night, limited engagement type thing like we did earlier on this run in Nashville, I don't see that happening very often. There's security issues. There's all kinds of issues. So, yeah, there's definitely something to be said about the coolness and the intimacy of a small venue like that. But truth be told, dude, give me the biggest room and the biggest crowd you have any night of the week, and I'm fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to turn down, like you said, 14,000 fans that want to be with you and hear your music every night. Like that's monumental. And I remember reading or saw something when you did the Sickness album. You said that was a kind of like a transformation period for you, like just not even personally, but like on the outside as well. Like, isn't that when you shaved your head and put the tusk piercings in and everything?
Well, I did it when we got our record deal. I was a healthcare administrator prior to that, and I had to still actually have hair and wore a suit and tie to work every day. And the minute that we found out we got the deal, I tendered my resignation, and first thing I did was shave my head and pierce my ears and my chin, and never looked back.
And was that just to stand out?
It was something I'd always thought of doing, couldn't do as a healthcare administrator running a 360 bed skilled nursing facility. They might have not really looked at me the right way. So, but it was very liberating, and it was very gratifying from a identity perspective. You want to be an individual. You want to be able to stand out from the crowd. That's the whole concept behind the name of Disturbed to begin with. So it was really wonderful when I finally got the chance to do what I wanted to anyway.
Yeah, I'm bald as well, brother. I'm with you on that. So we both have the same follicle love. I like it. Do you think
they're just scared of being on our head and they just plant themselves in other parts of our bodies? That
plenty of hair everywhere else. No problem getting everywhere else. Follically challenged, motherfucker. Do you think the piercings will ever make it?
Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, bald is beautiful, baby. Yeah. Do you think the piercings will ever make a return, or are those days completely long behind you?
I doubt it, man. Because when I had them in, it was like whether people knew who I was or not, they were staring. And after a while, it got kind of old. And then as I got kind of old, it's like, okay, well, there's the, 45, 50-year-old Hot Topic guy over there. Maybe he's, it's time to take him off and leave that to the younger generation. And then, sometimes the sharp ends of them would get stuck in the microphone grill as I'm singing, and I had to pull the microphone away and it would yank, or like the tips of them would fall out on the stage, or God forbid, I forget to take them off before I go to sleep, and one of them is up one side of my nose and the other one is poking out my mouth. And God forbid you ever actually want to get down to some actual real kind of
south of the border
attention work south of the border on your loved one there. That could be kind of an issue as well. So I think my lady's happy that I don't have those things in my chin anymore.
I would imagine. Yeah, logistically, it just sounds like a nightmare trying to eat like some like ramen noodles or something and just getting stuck in dangling out there.
Yeah, trying to eat anything with those things in is a challenge.
Yeah. Well, it's a good look, man. You pull it off with or without the tusks. So
Appreciate it, bro.
We gotta talk about the noise. People watching will bitch up a storm if I don't bring this up. I have so many people hit me up in my DMs about this.
Sure.
How did you come up with the ooh ah ah?
It was just improvisational, man. It was just the first time we ever started writing the song. And at first, when we first came up with it, that section where that first began was just a pause for dramatic effect. It was just, a dead space before the whole band kicked back in. And that beat, the rhythm, that primal tribal vibe that it had, I just, one time improvisationally just tried it. And literally the guys stopped the song. Like they didn't know what I was doing, and they all looked at each other like,
is he okay? Is he having is he having an episode?
Yeah, it was like maybe a seizure or something. And they all looked at me and they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know, but just humor me. There's something to it, and it stuck. And after all these years, I think my only fear is that when I finally am laid to rest, on my headstone is going to say, "Here lies David Draiman." Well, but we'll see.
I mean, I'll do everything in my power to make sure that doesn't happen to you, man. But it might be out of my control. Yeah. So had you made that noise at all before trying it out? Right. It just came to you like a what?
Yeah. All the little noises came after me being a part of Disturbed. The rhythms, and there were so many people in the genre. I shouldn't say so many. Jonathan Davis in particular, who ever since I heard that first Korn record, and I mean, there are just so many parts of his beatboxish kind of little gibberish kind of rapping that he does that were very inspirational to me. Him, Chino Moreno from the Deftones, their first couple records were incredibly inspirational and seminal for me. And just understanding what more could be done with rhythm and how the voice could end up becoming a rhythmic instrument in and of itself. It really just helped me focus myself in that direction. And certainly the musicality lent itself to it.
So. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of artists, after hearing that, were like, we can do that? Like, you can make those kind of noises, and that can actually be a part of a song, not just something like out of the ordinary.
Anything goes, right?
It sparks plenty of memes too, which I love how much you embrace it. Like every time I see it on Instagram, like there's a new one you post, like I
love it.
Yeah, you don't shit on it. You don't get mad about it. Like some artist might.
I'm a meme. Look, I've made it.
When do you think they'll start picking up steam?
They really started picking up steam like over the course of the past 5 years. It's funny because, memes weren't really a thing when that song came out or that album came out. Hell, the internet wasn't a thing in the level that it is now. Boy, am I dating myself at this point. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I love that people can still, be tongue in cheek about it and find some humor in it. And hell, if you can't laugh at yourself, what point is there to things?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think taking things too seriously and not being able to have fun with your music is like, again, I talk to people about this all the time. Like, if you're not having fun doing this, like, why even do it? You could go work at another job. You could be doing the administrative work you're doing before. If you're not enjoying it, like,
there you go.
It's gotta be fun. It's gotta be enjoyable. Do you ever read the comments on social media, or do you just try to block that kind of stuff out?
For the most part, I try and block most of it out. See, the truth be told is that the loudest, most obnoxious voices are the ones who want to make sure you hear them. And, you'll make a post about anything and you'll get thousands of likes and views, and then you'll get 100 or 200 comments. And of the 100 or 200 comments, those are the people who literally have nothing better to do with their day, usually than say something negative. There is a good percentage of those that are incredibly positive and very uplifting, and I love, seeing how many people we've touched in a positive way, and how the music enables them to get through, life's difficult moments and adversities. But I think that if there's anything I learned from my last stint on social media, where I took a 7-year hiatus from everything is that don't feed the trolls. It's just not worth it. That's what they want. They want that acknowledgement and attention. But every once in a while, there's one that just kind of serves me a layup that I can't refuse the opportunity to dunk on.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is weird, like the kind of person that does spend so much of their time just putting negativity out into the world on social media, just constantly, like, because I'll see it too. Like, it'll be like the same person a few times in a row in the comment section saying the same kind. It's like, oh, this is just what you do, and like you said, like I'll see something too, like somebody will say something shitty, and it'll be like an easy layup. I'm like, oh, I got something for you. And I'll hit them back. And of course, they're right back at it a second later because that's all they're doing. And before I know it, I'm spending 20 minutes
oh my God,
here.
Wait a second, he acknowledged me.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, then I'm spending 20 minutes here arguing with somebody I've never met. I got to take my kid to school. What am I doing? Like, I can't spend time doing this. Like,
that's what they want, like I said. And sometimes feeding them is the worst thing you could do. But every once in a while, a little bit of a gratuitous, self-indulgent, does the trick.
When you got a good zinger, man, you got to let it out. You can't keep it to yourself, right?
Amen.
Does it ever get irritating that your like personal life is always like being put out as like news stories? Like anytime like you like buy a house or take a shit that's too big, like it becomes like a blabbermouth article,
You know what? I think I'll be far more concerned when nobody cares anymore.
That's fair.
I always have been of the opinion that if people feel passionately about you one way or the other, at least they're thinking about you. At least you're on their radar. They care enough to say something, whether it's negative or positive. And, that's why, one of the things, this past run that we did was one of the first times I had a personal security guy with me, my buddy Darren. And he was, surprised about how, I guess not so surprised because we've known each other for a long time, but I don't refuse requests for, for autographs, for pictures, from anybody, for any reason. And it's for exactly what I said to you. I think I'll be more concerned when nobody cares anymore. So if they have the time, I have the time, I'm more than willing to do it. I'm more than willing to, if I am able to catch somebody's statement or response, to acknowledge it in some way if I can. I get hundreds, if not thousands of them every day, so it's tough to acknowledge all of them. But the ones that definitely stand out, I try to see what I can do. And there's never enough time for everybody, so that's what all of us need to concede at some point.
Yeah, I've been loving the videos of you bringing the kids on stage at the shows on the tour. That's been really cool. Very heartwarming stuff. And I know you just made those kids' night every single night you do that.
I love it. I love seeing this whole young generation of kids coming to the shows. I love, seeing all the people that have been impacted by the material and the songs who are struggling with depression or anxiety or with addiction that also are helped through it. And that's people question, is this the right environment for a child? And I think that's exactly the right environment for a child. What's the worst thing they're going to experience? A little bit of profanity. There are far more profane things in the world than dirty language that a child can experience in their daily lives, in their home life, in their school life. Learning that it's okay to feel these emotions, it's that other people feel them as well, that we all struggle, that we all utilize music to be able to break through boundaries and walls and to empower ourselves, and to know that darkness can show you the light is a beautiful thing to teach to a child. The sense of community, the sense of unity, the sense of just strength and oneness is a beautiful thing for them to see. And on a more selfish and personal level, I love that an entire generation of kids is being exposed to what real music is. music created by real instruments, not just by some guy taking a thumb drive and stucking it into a computer and pressing the space bar and popping open his bottle of Cristal while he's got, two babies on stage with him and, letting the computer do all the work. I get there's a lot of artistry involved in that. I get that there's a lot of creativity involved with that. I'm not trying to badmouth, EDM or anything like it, but I just don't want an entirely new generation of music fans to not know what real organic music being played live is like. That's one of the reasons I celebrate Taylor Swift, because here you have the biggest pop star in the entire world getting up on stage, singing live. I've seen her myself. I know the difference, and playing an actual live acoustic and electric guitar to the biggest audience on the planet. That is so refreshing to me. That is so, that gives me hope. It gives me hope the same way that, the Plush girls give me hope, and the girls from The Warning give me hope. And, and Lizzie Hale, when she, began things with Hale Store, gave me hope. And, I'm forgetting so many other amazing women in the genre. I think that young girls so often gravitate towards the stuff that's top 40, the stuff that's on their local regular radio station, the stuff that is being played in their schools. And if we can't get through to them, then I'm glad somebody else can. And so whatever does it and keeps real organic music in the hearts and minds of the next generation, I will support with a full heart.
I think that's a great point because, obviously with the decline of physical media and just like the way music in general doesn't have as much like quote unquote value to people anymore because it is just so disposable and free, and like you can just pay $10 a month and have every song you've ever wanted to listen to, or you paid $0 even and then listen to it on YouTube, which don't get me wrong, I'm a product of that, that generation. I grew up with the internet and everything like that. I very much am very happy that I get to hear every single Disturbed song I want to hear at the point of a finger. But it does lose something. I remember those days of going to the store and buying a CD and listening to it, reading the booklet and listening to it all the way to the end. And then that last track finishes. And then 5-10 minutes later, you got a new song that in the secret hidden track that you didn't know was going to be there. Like that stuff was exciting, And like to your point,
there's a lot of things that the next generation, or the current generation, I should say, is missing out on that we grew to love and, just really cherish and treasure during our upbringing. I agree with you. I think the liner notes, the lyrics, the art, the artwork itself, album covers, and that's one of the things that makes me so happy about the resurgence of vinyl. And that, people are actually getting into that as well. And that, so it's not a completely dead facet of what we do, but it's moving quickly towards extinction, unfortunately.
Yeah. And with more artists, like you said, they're just put a thumb drive in and talking like over music, or even like to the point of like it becoming like AI generated music, having an actual band on stage is so important. Or even just not even a band, but if somebody playing the actual music on stage is very important.
Agreed. The thing that, I think AI is going to be a lot more successful at coming up with pop and EDM style stuff than it will with coming up with even like adult contemporary kind of things. I mean, an extension to rock, because there is some science to song structure. There's some science in terms of what notes resonate within the human mind more than others. But there is no science, to determining that mystical combination of notes that for whatever reason, this melodic pattern hits you here. You can't teach an artificial intelligence that. It can't learn that.
You can't even teach a person that.
Exactly. You either have it or you don't. And so for that reason, I do believe that I still have a lot of faith in the future. But the less organic things become, the more wary I become.
I agree. Do you have a few minutes for some fan questions? I don't know what your schedule's like. I know you gotta get running.
I literally have just a few minutes. I got my kid came down with strep throat this morning, so I gotta go check.
Bummer, dude.
Yeah.
My kid had strep throat like a week ago. I feel it, man. I'm like the king of like moving things around because my kid always has something going on.
Oh,
I feel
my poor son, dude. He's had to deal with so much illness this past year. I don't know why this year's been the year, but it's like, holy cow.
Same. Yeah, mine's getting his tonsils out at the end of April, so we're hoping that helps a lot of the issues.
I hope so.
Okay, well, let me just try to get one or two in here then. What is your favorite song to play live?
You know, I don't have one. And that's an honest answer. The songs are like children to us. I don't have a favorite child. I don't have a favorite song. They all hit differently. They all come from a very real emotional place. And they all get, their own equally powerful reactions live. So yeah, I can't say that there is one.
One last one. Do you consider Disturbed to be a new metal band?
To me, it doesn't really matter. I know that we came to fruition during a period of time when new metal was at its peak. Mm-hmm. But to me, in terms of the definition of new metal, it usually incorporates a guy on turntables. It incorporates a rapper along with the actual sung elements. It's funny. I think that if we had come out during the era of Judas Priest and Iron Maiden and Metallica and Pantera, I don't think anyone would have questioned where we belong. Right. But now, I'm not ashamed of being called new metal. That's fine. At the end of the day, we're Disturbed, and people can categorize us any way they want. As long as what we're doing is moving you, is hitting you, and it gives you the strength that you need to get through the rest of your shit, then we've done our job, and you can call us anything you want.
Yeah, I think if you released any kind of metal adjacent music in that 5-year span, you kind of got lumped into it.
Yeah, that's all.
Well, David, dude, it's been so great talking to me. I really appreciate you taking the time before you get on the plane and get out of here. Are there any last minute plugs you want to get in before we go?
No, just really happy at how the "Don't Tell Me" track has been received. Performing it with Mariah from Plush was just an absolute thrill over the course of this run. I look forward to eventually being able to perform it with Ann Wilson herself. I'm not sure where and when that's going to happen yet, but we are going to try and make it happen. I'm hoping to catch maybe a show on her Heart reunion tour while she's out there. I'm looking forward to all of the festivals that we're on over the course of the rest of the year. I'm definitely looking forward to these upcoming New Zealand and Australia shows as well.
Hell yeah. And is at David Draiman and at Disturbed on all social media the best place to contact you?
As David M. Draiman, yeah.
M. Draiman. Gotta get that M in there. There's probably another David Draiman out there, right?
Oh my God, there's an army of them, of imposters. I used to have an attorney that would clean them out every month. Yeah. It's not worth it anymore. It's like roaches or rats. They just keep coming. They don't end. Sorry about the dog.
You're good, man. We got a little cameo here. That's good. Well, everyone, thanks for watching and listening. Please make sure to follow, like, subscribe, whatever. And you can get me at Jesse Lee on TikTok and Instagram, at Jesse Lee Show on X, Twitter, whatever we're calling it. And also make sure to please share this podcast episode with somebody that doesn't suck. All right? Take it easy now. And bye-bye.